day, everyone. I'm Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Geary Cast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there. Malaga bounced back from their cup defeat to Estepona with a good 1-0 win at La Rosaleda over the league's colista Cartagena. A good performance overall, rounded off with a Nelson Monte goal just before half-time to seal the points. We'll be dissecting the game and the protagonists, as well as I'm sure we'll be addressing the strange whistling of Antonito in the last 10 minutes or so of the game. And speaking of guys being whistled, here's one man who I'm sure gets whistled all the time when he's walking the street for all the right reasons. It's my Geary Cast co-host, Luke Chambers. How are you, Luke?
I'm better now, Matt. I mean, the confidence you just filled me with, I will take that. I know you did warn me off there, but I will take that, sir. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. We should perhaps commend you even further for battling on Saturday evening, and you did attend a game of football. You went to watch Doncaster against, was it Notts County?
Yeah, Doncaster, Notts County. We was in the prawn signing brigade. We got a private box, a raffle prize. What we won, 17 old school friends. Really good day. Never planned on doing a minute by minute. I did half a minute by minute, then fell asleep. However, I have watched the full game since, and therefore I can come and give the professionalism that Matt will offer as well.
Yeah, and I guess you said you managed a half. You made it to the goal, and then all the emotions of Malaga's goal just before half time. Maybe that was just too much for you then, and overloaded and passed out. Anyway, was the Doncaster game any good, or was it just was the alcohol more the highlight?
No, it was a good game, to be honest. Notts County, they brought 2,900 fans. The Eco Power, or the Keepmoat Stadium, more known. Yeah, more known to us Doncaster people. It's normally a quiet ground, but Rovers had, I think you were 8,500, so it wasn't a bad atmosphere. But obviously, being the home game to Remembrance Day, always a really good football fixture for the commemorates before the game. But yeah, good. But again, a good day on the beers with the boys. Just a shame I couldn't fully focus on Malaga, I guess.
Yeah, I can't say the Keepmoat is one of my favorite grounds I've been to, but I seem to remember watching a really good game there. But I can't remember who it was against. I remember was the really good, like, sort of short playmaker. Was it Forrester?
James Forrester.
James Forrester. I thought it was Harry Forrester, but
Harry Forrester. We had James Coppinger, Doncaster Road legend.
He played that day.
Bellevue. Did you ever get to Bellevue?
No, I would have loved to.
Like that. What a ground. Really, you would have loved it. Really old-fashioned, shitty old ground, but apparently the third best pitch in Britain at the time in the 90s, and saw a couple of scalps of Man City and Aston Villa in the Carling Cup.
Yes, it's very sadly we are not. What's it called? The popular stand is the Doncaster fanzine, isn't it? We're not the popular stand. We are the Geary Cast. Let's turn our attentions away from the north of England. I was going to say to sunny Spain, but not at the moment. More storms on the way in the coming days, so that's going to be fun. But let's go to the Segunda first. Luke, do you want to tell us some of the scores around the league?
I certainly can. So we start the weekend. Elche got beat 2-1 at home to Almeria. Mirandes drew 2-2 with Cadiz. Granada beat Eldenense 3-2 with a last-minute Uzani goal. I don't know if you saw that one, Matt, but absolute thundercracker. Huesca, they drew 1-1 with Real Zaragoza, our next opponents. And then Malaga, of course, we won 1-0. Then it was Cordoba versus Castellon, which was a 2-2 draw. Burgos got beat 2-0 onto Sporting, who are on absolute fire at the moment. Another team on fire, Racing de Santander, they won 2-1 away at Racing de Ferrol. Albacete drew 2-2 with Real Oviedo. Tenerife Levante was obviously postponed due to, as Matt mentioned, the storms and so on, the afterbirth of that. And then the final game of the weekend, Deportivo La Coruña beat Eibar 1-0 as they continued their better form.
Oh, there you go. Because I didn't know that last result, actually, because that was last night, wasn't it? I will say, I don't know if you'd call him my highlight, because I know we're not supposed to like him, but I did enjoy Ontiveros' goal for Cadiz. It was, I know he scored 2. I think it was the second one, the lob over the goalie. And again, he didn't celebrate. So I can't keep up. Did he play for Mirandes, or was he just being a cocky shit again?
I think he was being a cocky shit, but he also had a goal disallowed as well.
Did he?
So he nearly got the hat trick. See, Ontiveros is he's not a liked person, but he's not a bad player at all. I think he's a good player.
Well, I think I must, like, you know, as you know, the algorithms and things like that. Some Gaddy fans pop up on my like X feed, and I saw like a few saying like it was one of the best individual performances they've seen in a Cardiff shirt for years by anyone. So I don't know what he did. Which actually, while we're talking about that, then let's go on to excellent performances. Because Atletico Malagueño won again 3-0 against fellow sort of local Malaga side, El Palo. And again, Carlos Ruiz Rubio with a hat trick, better known to you and me as Chupete. When's it going to happen, Luke? When is it going to happen? When's he going to play for the senior team?
It can't be far off. It cannot be far off. Third hat trick of the season already. I think they played 10 games. I'm sure this is like his 12th goal or something like that. He's training with the first team again.
Yeah.
Obviously, our strikers aren't doing the business. So come on, how much longer can a player who's banging him in for fun be overlooked?
Yeah, and also, well, I'll tell you, he's got 14 goals.
Jesus.
Scoring a goal every 53 minutes. And he's the top goal scorer in the whole of the Tercera. And for those that don't know, the Tercera isn't just like it's the 5th division, even though it's called Tercera. But that's how many leagues? I think is 12 or 13 leagues. 12. So he's the 12. Top. Yeah, he's the top goal scorer in that. And actually, they are playing, or Atletico Malagueño are playing FC Marbella this coming weekend. But they play in San Pedro.
Is that who we watched? Is that who we watched, Matt?
Yeah, it was. That's true. We saw him get promoted. We did, yeah.
We did. We half celebrated with him.
Yeah. So I might go to that. The only thing is, it's a 5 o'clock kickoff, I think, and then Malaga are on at 9. So it depends if I want to. I'll probably have to get a taxi back. So I'm going to see, and obviously with the weather and stuff, if it's not a nice evening, I probably won't bother. But I do want to go and see Chupete with my own eyes, and if he's playing for Atletico Malagueño that night. But yeah, they're still top of the league as well, 2 points ahead of Real Jaén. I'd say actually it's a really fun league, the Tercera. Lots of fun clubs in there, and very idiosyncratic, lots of different clubs. And while we're talking about Malaga's sort of other teams, the Femenino, Luke, how did they get on this weekend?
Yeah, Femenino also had a great result. They played away at Olimpia Las Rosas. So this team were 4th in the league. Malaga went there and won 3-0, which moves them up to 7th in the league. Interestingly, 2 of the Malaga goals came on the 95th minute and 98th minute. So the girls left it late. But they're on a fantastic season in Segunda Federación Southern section.
Nice. So yeah, the two a good weekend all round for Malaga Club de Football in every department. I'll be honest with you, I have not checked Malaga C's results, so hopefully
I don't know if you ever click on the website, Matt, but I was clicking around the other day, and I know it shows you I don't actually know which age group this is, and forgive my Spanish. The Juvenil, basically is it like the under-19s? What we say?
Sort of, yeah. I forgot the age group of it. Sort of about because they have Cadete and then
yeah. So basically, on the website they give you the list of basically every age group you can think of, and I dare say 90% of the Malaga whole club won. So it was a really good weekend for everybody.
Excellent. And then just a couple of other little bits. We'll say the Almeria game, which it was a few weeks away yet, but that game has now been announced as in a kickoff time and a day. It will be played on Sunday, December the 8th, 4:15 p.m. kickoff. And for those that don't know as well, because I know some people might be coming to Spain, Luke, I don't know if it's good news or bad news for other people, but it's also Puente in Spain that week, which means it's essentially a bank holiday weekend. So there'll be lots of people, including myself, not having to work Friday and Monday either side of that weekend. So I'm looking forward to that weekend now, and I believe you are too.
Oh, am I? I've had it signed off with work. Just myself this time. The missus isn't coming. However, I've got plenty of friends in yourself. Nick Bell also over, Paul Ennahan's over, and I'm sure a couple of other guys. So it should be a very good weekend. I know you're all sat there thinking when Matt's saying he's got time off work and thinking, are these Spaniards and teachers ever at work? Every weekend's a bank holiday for you guys.
Classic, yeah. So I did count one. I think I had the exact same amount of holidays in the UK as I did, apart from the summer, apart from the ridiculously long summer holiday here. But as I say to anyone, if it sounds so good, you do your teaching degree and
yeah.
And I think there's not really much else apart from one other little bit of, I suppose, quite fun news on Area Malaguista. I think it was last night or certainly the start of the week. Recio, the former Malaga player, was on there, and he's obviously played with Isco and is good friends with him. And he revealed in this interview, or the headline that's come from this interview, is that Isco apparently told him that he wants to retire at Malaga, but it's sort of in the way he spoke in the interview, he implied that he's already sort of looked at Malaga and was perhaps put off by us being in the third tier. Do you think Isco's going to come and do a Santi Cazorla eventually, Luke?
It's got me dreaming. Just reading Recio's thoughts. I mean, for me, that were a perfect midfield back in the day. Recio, Camacho, and Isco. 3 of my top 10 players for Malaga, for sure. I did see Malaguista put a quote, and it's probably more on the same lines. I think the wage, since the Samuel Castillejo thing, I think the dreams of these big names ever coming back, I believe it's quite difficult for it to actually happen, but we can dream, Matt.
We can. He'd be a good backup to David Larubbia, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be fun. I personally don't think it's going to happen. I can't see it happening next year, or it might be a couple of years down the line. And obviously, he's had quite a lot of injuries, Isco, and we'll see how much longer he goes on for. But he's had a lovely time at Betis so far, much nicer time than he had at across town with Sevilla, anyway. But let's stop dreaming of the future and let's look at the current. What's going on right now. And well, I guess we're going to talk about what's just happened, I suppose, because Malaga have won again at La Rosaleda, the second time in a row at home against Cartagena, 1-0. We'll obviously talk about the football, but let's, give a shout out as always. We usually give a shout out to our fans and say how great they are at filling the stadium, whether that's home or away. I guess we're going to give them a big shout out for a different reason here. I think we mentioned on the show last week that there was a collection being organised for those that have suffered as a result of the Dana storm in the Valencia region. It was mostly for the Valencia region, but I know there was some stuff, there was some stuff organised for Alora and other places affected. But the Malaga fans came out in force. There was mainly cleaning products were asked for, which were collected at some of the gates at La Rosaleda and the city centre store. And I believe 5,000 kilos of stuff were acquired, which is crazy. It's, I think we spoke about the storm last week, but we're a good bunch when it comes to this stuff, Luke.
Yeah, powerful. It's really powerful. Powerful across all the Spanish football pyramid, not just Malaga. A lot of teams showed their true colours, but football takes a lot of stick in a lot of ways in life, but times like this is when football fans really do come together. And obviously you guys was at the game, and like you said, then Malaga tweeted out saying that the aid banks were out, and it really looked like the Malaguistas turned up and really did their stuff. A real fantastic job from everybody.
Yeah, and obviously the two teams posed together. I can't remember the exact sign said, but you're not alone, Valencia. And I didn't really see any at the game, but the day after I saw lots of things on Twitter of signs in the, particularly in the Fondo Sur, of things like, Forza Valencia and things like that.
Yeah,
so that was good to see. And there was the minute silence at the start as well. So yeah, it was all acknowledged very classily, I thought. But moving back to football, let's get to the starting 11. I sort of started writing, there was no real surprises, but I guess the real headline of the starting 11, Luke, was the 3 players behind Dione, because we've not really seen this for a long time, or, very rarely under Pellicer, where we had Kevin, Larubbia and Lobete. It's usually 2 of the 3 of them, but we had all 3 behind Dione. So before we talk on the game, what was your thoughts on this?
Yeah, happy to see it. And with all due respect to Cartagena, if you can't play a more attacking formation against the bottom of the league, who can you play it against? I dare say, when you think about it, Matt, without the resurgence of Antonito and Aaron Ochoa, Maloney and stuff, beginning of the season, a 3 of a front 4 in Lebete, Larubbia and Kevin, that sounds quite promising to me. I'm very happy to see Lebete get his start. I mean, it's another new signing whose Malaga career really hasn't got going. I know he had his injury for 2 months for it or something, but
play to him, if you remember as well, he wasn't meant to play again until January, and he's played quite a lot in the past few weeks. He was like 2 months ahead of schedule. So
yeah, he has, and we know again it's like many of the other new signings. We know that there's a player in there. It's just trying to fit him into the team, I guess. Again, probably down to the oncomings of the kids, the Antonitos of the world.
Yeah, and I guess as well, like, you know, I know we perhaps won't go into it too much now, but we were talking just before we press record about perhaps some of the preconceptions about Pellicer's style of football. But you could argue now that in attacking midfield is the place where we've got the most depth with those 3, Cordero, Ochoa. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone else as well. Haitam. It's quite a heavy sort of attacking end of the pitch we got there. We just perhaps need.
Well, when you look at it, Matt, I guess we was believed that our marquee signing of the season, Yanis Romani.
Mm-hmm.
I bet
I
bet he's played 4 games since he's came. That's probably due to the fact that he can't even get in the team. I don't think anybody's particularly stamping their authority on it, but you can't change something what's working, I guess, in terms of points on the board.
I guess you could have argued that Aaron and Antonito had sort of stamped their mark on it. And obviously they national duty, and you know, we rested them a little bit, and then they've it's fair play to the, you know, Kevin and Larubbia. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't say they've absolutely claimed it for themselves, although I'll talk on Larubbia a bit more in a second. But I think like Kevin's done nothing wrong and has been very good, you know, without being spectacular. So yeah,
I know we spoke about Danny Lorenzo a couple of weeks ago, how Danny Lorenzo, if any of them, seems to have had a bit more of a negative impact this season. Like you say, with Kevin Medina, he looks like he's really knuckled down, David Larubbia especially. But there is a few players who looks like they've had a summer where they've really focused on improving. Maybe Danny Lorenzo hasn't quite, and he does seem to be falling down the pecking order a little bit.
Well, yeah, I just sort of glanced at the substitutions again, and he wasn't one of the substitutions. I can't remember if he was on the bench or not, but you know,
I think I saw that he had like a fever.
Okay.
I don't think it's anything too serious, right? Well, I hope not.
Anyway, let's talk about the player that did play. It's probably the player I want to talk about most tonight, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. We've talked definitely at the start of last season. I know I definitely said, and I feel like others said it too, that David Larubbia should or could have been our star last year. And we all sort of said he'd be better as a number 10. He finally got to play number 10 for the first time in a long time, it feels. Certainly this season, I don't think he's played there before. I'll just say it now. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. For me as a 10, it's his perfect position. He's not an out-and-out winger. When he plays out wide, he very easily vanishes in games because he's not your winger who's going to get the ball and drive. He's a playmaker. So therefore, when he gets the ball, he wants to keep the ball moving. Unfortunately, a lot of time coming out wide with Malaga, that ball is probably going back towards Emmanuel Molina. However, in the 10, again, he's just a creative player and he's got an eye for goal. So for me, the 10, if we are playing with a 10, then David Larubbia is the perfect player for it.
And weirdly, considering he wasn't on the wing, and I think I put this in our WhatsApp group and things like that, he just looked faster than usual on Saturday. He seemed to be like flying about the place. Although, admittedly, for a while, I was like, he's everywhere. And then I eventually found out that him and Lebete were both wearing red boots. So I think they both run a bit. But it was still like bouncing around everywhere. I was going to use Laru. Apparently, that's his nickname.
Laru.
Laru.
Interestingly, you say that, Matt, regarding getting the players mixed up with the red boots. I saw somebody put on Twitter today. There were 4 screenshots of Julen Lebete and his movement. And what they were saying were he basically played right, centre, left, and actually had time up front at the weekend. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, because there was definitely a part of the game where he was sort of in the sort of number 10 position. And I sort of said I thought to myself, oh, maybe I've misread the sort of the setup. Maybe Lebete is playing as number 10. But yeah, he Larubbia very much took over. But yeah, like those 3, they can all play across those, left wing, right wing, centre. We've said Kevin might be good in the centre. So it's quite fluid. And yeah, I thought we were, it was sort of the same old story where perhaps we're lacking a bit with that final pass and that killer pass. But I thought we played good football in this game. I enjoyed watching us play. I don't know. What did you think of the first half performance in like general?
I thought it was a decent performance. I don't think Cartagena really came to win the game.
No,
they didn't come out the half, I guess. Was Malaga doing enough to lead the game? I also don't know. Just like you said, Matt, we struggle to look dangerous in front of goal. We get in areas and then too often don't get the shot away. I know Larubbia, he had 2 good efforts, one after a minute and one after about 25, I think it was.
Yeah.
But besides that, I'm not blaming anything on Dione or probably more blame across the centre forwards in Hull, whether it's been Dione, Rocco or Castell.
Yeah.
I think the guys behind him are doing their jobs quite soundly. They're all getting the shots away, but I just think we're effectively playing with 10 men a lot of the time.
Yeah, well, let's we're talking about not blaming Dione, but maybe we'll put some blame on him here. Let's talk about the penalty. So obviously Malaga did get a penalty after VAR had a look at it. Kevin broke sort of inside the box. I can't say I really saw it in the stadium, but the replays very much show he had his shorts pulled back. He obviously made a bit of a meal of it as well, but it was the correct decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was quite stupid play from the Cartagena defender. Like, I don't think Kevin had done him, but I don't think he was particularly going anywhere too dangerously. And with the eyes of VAR lurking about these days, you're not going to get away with that. You can understand why the ref maybe didn't give it to start with, but yeah, strange defending.
And also, I think it was Cedric, wasn't it? The guy that played. I think it was Cedric that gave away the foul. He obviously did play. I didn't realize till after the game, to be honest with you, that for those that have listened for a long time, Cedric was the guy that tore us apart for Ceuta last year. But I did not realize he had signed for Cartagena. But which is a good thing, because I didn't really notice him that much on the weekend. So he's definitely not had the same impact he did against us as he did for Ceuta. But I'll say I don't know what was going on here. But Kevin held the ball for a very long time. I'm pretty certain he wanted to take this penalty, and it looked for a long time like he was. And then eventually Dione did get it. Dione, I think his record, this is off the top of my head, so feel free to correct me. I think he's missed one and scored one since, playing for Malaga. You tell me, because when I watched in the stadium, I didn't think it was a very good penalty. So obviously, for those that don't know, it got saved, but when I watched the replay back, actually, I thought it was quite a good save. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, looking through the obvious blurry beer goggle eyes originally, I thought it were a bad penalty. And after watching the highlights, I can confirm, for me, it were a bad penalty. But I am a fan of any goalkeeper saving a penalty. His class is a good save in my eyes. It's a guessing game. But I don't think there were any particular power. It wasn't really in the corner. I would have happily seen Kevin Medina, a confident Kevin Medina, take that. You're talking Panenka kind of style or anything there?
Well, do you remember like the Alcoyano game we lost last year where he took the penalty and I said, I think I kept saying, Kevin's not a penalty taker. Kevin does not take penalty. And he properly buried it. It was a lovely penalty. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, Matt, myself and quite a few of these GearyCast listeners, we still have nightmares about Alcoyano.
What do you call it? The Alcoyano. I think you would call it as sort of that's what Real Madrid call it when they lost to Alcoyano. So I guess, well, no, I suppose that's what Alcoyano. Anyway, I'm going off on one now. That means it's really good. Yeah, but yeah, whatever. That we sort of messed up. That we had missed our chance. I'll be honest with you. I was never really worried. I still fancied us to win, even when they did get the ball in the net. They had a disallowed goal. It looked like didn't look, in the stadium. I could not see what it was being looked at for, but there was a very minor offside, and I think Einar headed it back across goal, and they scored for me. It was quite lucky.
Yeah, tight, really, really tight. And I know we all have our views on VAR. I'm not a big fan of it, but effectively we would not have got a penalty, and I dare say that this goal would have stood without it. They could have been sat drawing them lines for hours, to be fair, because this were really tight. Originally, I thought he gave the foul for a bit of a push on Einar, and then I thought, well, this is really, really soft if that's what they've done. But I think obviously when VAR's got involved, it is the right decision. It's just so tight.
Yeah, it's very similar for anyone that sort of watched more Spanish football this weekend. Lewandowski's toe against Real Sociedad.
That's crazy.
Where I think I saw an interview in Marca yesterday where, they were an article about it when Flick was having a go at the ref, and the ref was saying, "Why am I going to make it up? Why am I going to make it?" Something like that. But yeah, and then obviously they had a disallowed goal. Looked like we were going to go in 0-0 at halftime, but from nowhere, Nelson Monte pops up in the box, comes flying in from the sort of penalty spot, and buries one in. No goalie, pretty much open goal. His second goal of the season, his second goal for Malaga, and the second goal in his whole career. He is now our second joint top goal scorer. We like a Monte goal when they come around just for the celebrations, don't we?
Oh, we love a Monte goal. An absolute fox in the box. And I think it was after Granada, when he scored in Granada, when he had an interview and he said, I don't know how to celebrate. I don't score goals. Yeah. And this was very much that. I mean, he's got like a happy cowboy and a mini Wasu going off and just pure population. But happy for him. I mean, Monte is one of them players what every team loves. He bleeds for the badge. You can see how much it means to him.
And who's the first person to jump on his back to celebrate?
Yeah, the boy. He knows where the cameras are. That's why.
Kevin's always there. Kevin's the ultimate. He's always. I think he makes a great run to the celebration. He reads that well. But yeah, it's it's not quite as good as Monte's celebration when Einar scored and he did that mad celebration in front of the Fondo Sur and he hadn't even scored, but it was good still.
Atletico Madrid Bay, I think it was.
Yes, it was. It was
the 12-minute winner.
Yeah, where Einar scored last minute. And then to be honest with you, from there, I thought we looked pretty safe from there. I thought we were even better in the second half. I don't know about you.
I wouldn't say better. I think it were a little bit more different of a game, if that makes sense, because now we've got something we've got a lead to build on, something to look after. Basically, if we don't concede, we get the 3 points. I think it was very much like the first half performance. We looked well at times, but also maybe not creative enough, which I'm sure we speak about this every week now, don't we? Unfortunately.
Yeah, we need Isco.
Yeah.
We should give a shout out as well as his, obligatory Alfonso Herrero. Maybe not one of his sort of most eye-catching, spectacular saves, but still a very good save to stop them when they went through on goal. Do you want to say some nice things about Herrero just to tick the box?
It's just the Don, isn't it? It's the Don. It's what we expect of him. It's going to sound very, old saying in football and so on. It just shows the importance of a good goalkeeper. Has had effectively nothing to do all game, and then when Cartagena do spring to life, there you go. There is our Spanish number one.
Did you see the stat about the two goalies?
Yes. Have they both made the most saves in Segunda?
Well, I had written down, because I looked this up yesterday, but I saw this. David Picon said they've both got the same amount. I had written down that Cartagena's had one more than us, so maybe I looked on a different site. But they're pretty much the same. Alfonso Herrero, by the way, has the highest save percentage in the league and the most clean sheets in the league. By the way, it sort of surprised me, actually, because at the start of the season, we were talking about, all right, okay, we're scoring a few more goals in the first few games, but we're conceding a lot more. But we're back to having the best defense in the league again.
We are. I saw this the other day, and you just think, like you say, well, we had 3-2 draws.
Yeah.
And then you think we've only conceded, I think it's 11 goals we've conceded in 13 games, which is fucking insane. It really is.
And actually, that's a good point, because when Miranda's on some mad sort of number,
They conceded like three, scored three, conceded 3 in 9 games or something.
Yeah, they've had come back down to earth a little bit. But yeah, it was all very positive, and it looked like there was nothing, it looked like it was going to be quite drama-free. But I suppose we should talk about the events of the last 10 minutes where Antonito got subbed on for, I think it was Kevin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Forgive me, I don't remember which one. I knew it was Kevin or Larubbia. For those that don't know, it's hard to say this because there's nothing official, but reportedly the sort of the discourse around Antonito at the moment is that the club are quite pessimistic about him signing a new deal, and obviously his contract's up in the summer. Some people, people think they're in the know on Twitter are putting things like, yeah, he's already signed for Barcelona. So I'm saying reportedly with everything here, but it seems some people have taken this hearsay and this rumor as fact. And even if they were true, it's still madness to me. But when he came on the pitch, he wasn't booed, but he was whistled very loudly by large sections of the crowd, to the extent where I thought I was looking around the pitch to see as something else happened.
Yeah.
And then the second time I was like, oh no, they are actually whistling him, to which I would say, especially my corner of the stadium, he came to take a corner and he got applauded and cheered. So people were trying to counter it, but there was a lot of whistles. What did you think, Luke?
Crazy.
Are you going to whistle Antonito when you're over in a couple of weeks?
Really crazy. I dare say I'm going to be wearing this shirt. What's behind me? The Antonito 26. Like you just said, Matt, there's no factual truths. It's, yes, good social people of Malaga. Don't get me wrong. The people tend to be in the know, but there's no truth whether the contract talks are going well or negative just because it's dragging out. But it's strange. Whistling this player is not going to cement his contract or anything. If anything, it's going to drive the guy away. And a lot of football fans seem to have short memories in these kind of situations. 5 months ago, Antonito scored probably, I'm not saying the most important goal in the club's history, but definitely up there. If we'd had another season in Primera, who knows what would happen with our finances.
Yeah, it's very much... You say about football fans having short memories, and again, I don't want to fall into sort of putting everyone under the same bracket here, but I do find in Spanish football that memory seems to get even shorter. They don't, I'm not saying Malaga here. I mean, just in general, I'd like to think that like I think I put in our WhatsApp group that anyone that had any sort of was in Tarragona, watched it on TV, was in Malaga to watch it, I'd like to think none of those people were whistling.
No. Surely not. I mean, if Antonito leaves and goes on to bigger things, fair be it. He will still be a legend for whatever. Fair enough, it wasn't the most amazing goal or anything, but he scored that goal. He was there for that goal. I think the key to all this, Matt, and the key to mention is, like you've just said, it was some of the fans. It wasn't all the fans. It was some. And if you remember last season with Danny Lorenzo, after the old shirt gate, I think the first game back in La Rosaleda, he had a couple of jeers, but I guarantee next week in La Rosaleda against Racing Santander, I'll be standing and applauding the kid, and I dare say there'll be 25,000 more.
Yeah, I think I eloquently put it in our WhatsApp group. He can spit in my face and tell me to fuck off, and I'd still cheer him on.
Well, if that happens, then fair be.
Yeah, and also perhaps the other thing to mention with him, and I don't know how long ago this happened, so you might be able to, I don't know if you know, but he has signed with, was it Pini Zahavi, who's sort of one of the big dog agents, the sort of,
So it were quite strange. Obviously, Antonito scored the goal against Tarragona. Then I think it was 3 days after Fabrizio Romano, of all people, put the picture of Antonito and saying he signed with major agency, and you're thinking, shit, this isn't good. But then the rumors coming out of it were all very positive, saying that he believes in his young studs staying where they are to grow into that club before moving on. But yeah, a lot of negative press around this Zahavi cat, the geezer.
Yeah, the geezer.
Studs and geezers.
So like you said, I'm hoping that there was so much talk the day after this Antonito whistling, and obviously the Fondo Sur came out and sort of defended Antonito and basically had a go at the people that had whistled him. Hopefully the next game there's a response. And I think Chris, actually, I can't say I saw this, but Chris, I think, said that Antonito did come over to the Fondo Sur after the game and give a shirt and sort of, he wasn't scared off by the booing.
No, Antonito, he'll understand the situation. And only Antonito, his family and his agency staff will know exactly what's going on. I mean, for all we know, it could be Malaga who's doing the shit side of the negotiations here.
Yeah, wow. That seems to be the other thing that's being reported. So again, it's all rumor and hearsay. So before we do Chumbo and Biznaga, is there sort of anything you want to, an overall summary of the performance? Did any of the substitutes impress you?
No, not specifically, but for me, it wasn't a great performance at all, but it's another big 3 points towards our number one goal, which is what do we say, 50 points in survival. It's another clean sheet, another home victory. Grinding out wins for me goes a hell of a long way in like the changing rooms. Like there's a real togetherness when you are getting these results when probably not playing too well. So in all fairness, with the club what we've had as a new team in La Liga Hypermotion, I don't think there's much negative to say other than the performances just need to be a little bit better.
Yeah, I'd say that my take from it would be like, I don't really think we made like many errors in this game, or certainly nothing significant. And I think that gets you quite a long way. I think that, I'll save talk about two players in particular until the Biznaga bit. I was going to give a little bit of a shout out to Izan Marino. Actually, I thought he was good when he came on.
Glad you've done that. He's going quietly under the radar with the Antonito and Aaron Ochoa Maloney, but he's starting to show his class now.
And I think I said on one of the podcasts last week, I feel a bit sorry for him because, Manu and Luismi in centre midfield are both really good and obviously more experienced than him, and they're sort of the players he's contending with. He's gone ahead a lot of other people though. We talk about Danny Lorenzo. I know he's a different sort of player, but I'd feel much safer with Izan coming on, which perhaps we should have mentioned in the news as well. Obviously, we've got a Zaragoza preview show coming up where we're joined by a special guest, hopefully. So look out for that. But we will not have Izan Marino and Antonito for that game. But also the news today is that Aaron Ochoa, or yesterday, I think the news, Aaron Ochoa Maloney is going to play for Ireland as well. So we're going to be missing those three. Anyway, let's go to Chumbo and Biznaga. I think Chumbo was quite difficult, but it was only one name for me in the end. So I'll just say mine to start with. I picked Dione, not because I thought he was awful, but he wasn't quite as effective as previous weeks. He was getting a bit frustrated, and he missed the penalty. I know it's a bit harsh, but that could have cost us. I don't know. There was no other real candidates for me, to be honest with you.
No, same for me, Matt. It's Dione, not because he missed the penalty. Any player can miss a penalty. I just don't think he offered as much going forward. When you've got the quick attacking flair behind him, Dione should really be able to link up play with him. But unfortunately, Saturday night, I don't think he did at all.
Yeah. Biznaga is a bit difficult this time. There's one winner for me, which I'll get to in a minute, but I've got quite a lot of honourable mentions here. So do you want to take the floor?
So for me, honourable mention, I dare say yours is going to be very, very similar, but for all the back line, the defence I thought were fantastic. Nelson Monte being the match winner, obviously. Don Alfonso winning us 3 points, like he always does. But I've got to give it to David Larubbia because I think we are now in this hot bit of form, what he's in. We are seeing the David Larubbia, what we've wanted to see for the last 18 months. He looked very dangerous as a number 10, and I hope that he can continue this, whether it's out wide or as a 10. But yeah, really good to see. So Biznaga, and the fans Biznaga with 64% of the votes was David Larubbia.
Oh, cool. Oh, I forgot to check that vote, but yeah, pretty much the same. I particularly highlighted Nelson Monte and Einar. I think they really sort of, they've always had a partnership, but it seems to have solidified again. I think Nick made a good point in our WhatsApp group. Danny Sanchez put in a great shift as well. Yeah. And we've been fairly critical of him this year. So, we've got to give him credit there. And I think Joaquin's taken the Puga right back spot now as well. But I think those two are just going to switch all season. The other honourable mention, and not that he was spectacular in this game, but I think I mentioned it in our WhatsApp group that since that stat came out about how much Manu Molina runs, because like I said, I never really associated him as a runner. He was always sort of a ball playing midfielder for me. I watched him really closely in this game, and he does cover a lot of ground, and he ticks us, he keeps us ticking over so much. So it's not really I'm giving him Biznaga for this game, but more just I wanted to highlight him, like how important he is for us, which I don't think is a big revelation, but it's dawning on me a bit more. And I think Nick put in our WhatsApp group, like this year, perhaps there's less Hollywood passes, although I did see a stat that I think we switched the ball more than any other club or any other team in the league. So maybe they are, but there's none of these balls over the top now because we don't have Roberto running on. But he's just metronomic, I think is the word you would say for Manu Molina. He's very good. So I wanted to give him a bit of love. And my Biznaga is David Larubbia. I thought he was absolutely sensational and fun to watch. He was just, I don't know, he just seemed to be moving so fast all the time. And
he's confident. He's looking confident. And I dare say over the last 18 months, he hasn't looked confident. But he was just he could have been the best player in the league last season by a country mile. And he just never really got going.
Yeah, in this game, he just seemed the way he moved. It was like he was bouncing around the place. He was like this. I've said, I think I put in my Instagram post. He was supercharged. I don't know what it was about him. And it was that amazing photo as well when there's 4 defenders around him. Obviously, the photo that it doesn't tell the story truly, but it's a great looking photo where he's clearing away of 4 defenders and one of them's falling over and.
It tells the whole story. David Larubbia is a good player. That is what that picture is telling us.
Yeah. And I think they all, like you said as well, you said on our social media, he got the fan vote, but he got a standing ovation in the stadium as well. He came off with, I think Pellicer must have done it on purpose. It was about the 89th minute, I think he came off, and he got a hell of a reception. You don't see that, those receptions that often, La Rosaleda, someone leaving, so... fair play. And
I think you touched on it. You touched on it earlier, Matt, as well. But I'd like to put a good shout out for Sergio Pellicer as well.
Got it.
He we were just speaking about off air. I know we was in a different league last season, but I've now been part of the Geary Cast for a year and a half, nearly 2 years. I think we've lost 7 games we come up with.
We tried to do it off the top of our head. So I think I counted 5 in the league last year, but I feel like I've forgotten one.
Yeah, so we'll say 7, maybe 8 games in a year and a half. And this is a manager who still takes a lot of criticism, and rightly so at times. Nobody's perfect or anything, but you've got to look at what Malaga are doing this season as a newly promoted team. Yes, we've drawn too many games, but we're not getting beat. 6 of them draws have come on the road. And when you look at some of the teams what we've played, some Andalus derbies, Cordoba's not lost a game at home this season. So there's so many positives to take with also a lot of negatives. Like you said earlier, Matt, with our defensive record, it's crazy in this league. If we had players to put the ball in the net, there is no reason why we wouldn't be up there with Racing. It's quite simple. Without jumping on a high horse or anything, it could be that simple. If we had goal scorers, we could be a hell of a lot further up this league.
Yeah, I think one of you guys put about we've only lost 1 game in the league this year, and I think I worked out we've only lost 1 game in 20 games. Yeah. The last, apart from who did we lose? Apart from the Elche loss at La Rosaleda this season, the last time we lost before that was Cordoba away.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, and I think, and again, you sort of touched upon it a bit as well. As well as the results and stuff, all last season and this season, we're like, oh, isn't it nice? The team look like they're playing for each other, they're enjoying themselves. All the sort of stories come out of the dressing room, like that's something that doesn't, it's slightly organic, but that's something a manager's got to cultivate too and manage. And you know, they look. It's a fun team. They're a very likable team, I think, as well. And I think he's at the head of that because I think he's a very likable man. He's
yeah, it's like
brilliantly.
I've been in change rooms like this before when you've had a younger manager who knows his players, i.e. Pellicer knows his academy players we came through with. It's as if they give you the freedom, basically saying you're good enough, get out there and get us 3 points. But did you see he won an award today, Matt, or yesterday?
Yeah, I think he was awarded last week, and I think he picked it up. Yeah, it might have been today. The best manager in the third tier, basically.
I mean, I won't go that far, but
well,
he's done well. He's done well.
You could argue, like, so I guess, like the Castellon, what's his name, Dick Schreider, he's got a lot of things going his way in regards to steady ownership and stuff. And that's not to take away from, you know, what an impressive team he put together last year. And I guess the Cordoba manager is perhaps the other guy that might be in with a shout here. But yeah, like that, it's a young team on paper. I don't
Very
think
young team.
It's
an exciting team.
Exactly. It's yeah. So I'm always up for a bit of Pellicer love, and long may it continue. But he's got a tough few games ahead. It's definitely the toughest part of the season for us. So just reading out our next games: Real Zaragoza away, then the Racing Santander at home, the runaway leaders in the league. Levante away, that game that got delayed. Then Castellon away, and then Almeria at home in an Andalus derby. So yeah, we've got some tough games coming up. So we're in a good place going into that tough bit. Forgive me, I forgot to double check. Are we 10 for 11?
10th. Yeah, 10th.
Thought so. I knew we were one of them. But so yeah, it's all going good. And obviously we shall start looking forward to that tough run of games with our preview show coming later in the week. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So I don't know, Nick. I'm not Nick. Sorry, you're not Nick. You're Luke. Do you have anything to finish with? Or you?
Nothing from me, Matt. Just pure positivities from the club. Let's keep this run going.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll see you later in the week, I guess. So I'll just finish by saying thank you, Luke Chambers.
Thank you very much, Matt. Enjoy your week, everybody, and vamos Malaga.
Vamos Malaga, indeed. And thank you guys for listening, as always, or watching on YouTube, whichever you prefer. Go and subscribe, follow, do all those things podcasts ask you to do. Leave a 5-star review. Tell your friends. And we'll see you soon. Adios and vamos Malaga.